What's the most evil thing a family member has done to your child in your own home? My mother-in-law secretly replaced my newborn son's formula with water because she believed I was poisoning him with artificial milk, then watched him nearly die from dehydration while telling the paramedics I was an unfit mother who starved my own baby. Margaret had made it clear from day one that she disapproved of everything about me. When I couldn't directly feed due to medical complications after a traumatic C-section, she took it as personal proof that I was failing as a mother. Formula is poison, she'd announce at every visit. Real mothers find a way to direct feed. You're just being lazy and selfish. That baby is going to have health problems his whole life because you won't even try. She'd bring articles about formula dangers, lecture me about natural motherhood, and make comments about how her generation raised healthy babies without all these chemicals. When Jake was 2 weeks old, Margaret started staying overnight to help, which should have been my first warning. She insisted on taking the night feedings so I could rest, claiming she wanted to bond with her grandson. You need your sleep, dear. Let grandma handle this. I was exhausted and grateful for the help. Jake seemed fussier than usual, but Margaret assured me that was normal. Babies cry, sweetie. You're overthinking everything like all new mothers do. By the third night, something felt wrong. Jake was lethargic, barely crying, and his diapers were almost dry. When I tried to feed him, he could barely suck. He's just sleepy, Margaret said, taking the bottle from my hands. Stop hovering. You're making yourself crazy with worry. That morning, Jake wouldn't wake up properly. His lips were dry, his fontanelle was sunken, and his skin felt papery. I was calling the pediatrician when Margaret grabbed my phone. You're being hysterical. The baby is fine. This is exactly the kind of overreacting that makes you an unfit mother. I snatched my phone back and called 911. The paramedics arrived within minutes and immediately recognized severe dehydration. Jake's blood pressure was dangerously low. As they worked on getting an IV into his tiny arm, Margaret started her performance. She barely feeds him, she told the paramedics loudly. I've been staying here trying to help, but she won't listen to advice. She's neglecting this baby. That's not true, I screamed, but Margaret continued. Look how thin he is. She's starving him because she doesn't want to be bothered with proper feeding schedules. At the hospital, Jake was rushed to the NICU. The doctor said he was severely dehydrated and malnourished. They started asking questions about his feeding routine. That's when I found the empty formula containers in Margaret's overnight bag and the gallon of distilled water she'd been using to replace the formula I'd been preparing. She had been dumping out the formula and refilling the bottles with plain water for 3 days straight. I was trying to cleanse his system, she told the police officer. Formula is full of toxins. I was giving him pure water to flush out all the chemicals she'd been poisoning him with. The detective found her internet search history, how to prove daughter-in-law is unfit mother, can babies survive on water, how to document child neglect. She had planned to let Jake get sick enough to build a case for custody. Margaret was arrested for child endangerment and attempted murder. She got 3 years in state prison and lost all grandparent rights permanently. Jake recovered fully after a week in the NICU, but I never let anyone else feed him again.